Bear down Bears fans, the rumor of the day is a big one. Is Maxx Crosby, the defensive end from the Los Angeles Raiders, headed to Chicago? That's the big question on everybody's mind. Let's break it down and let's see what the opportunity is for something like that to happen. Now, spoiler alert, I'm not sure that that's going to happen. If I had to smoke and J it, I think is one of the rating systems, I would say like a half a Jay Cutler smoking whatever Jay Cutler smokes. I don't know. I don't judge, by the way, whatever. So let's talk about it. Let's break it down and let's see. All right, first of all, guys, tail of the tape right here. Crosby, over the last 6 years, 57 and a half sacks. 10 sacks in his first season. He had 14 and a half sacks last season, 12 and a half the season before, and has 5.5 sacks already through the first 5 games that the Raiders have played in 2024. So still performing at an incredibly high level. And this is a big get. This would be a big get for any team out there. 9 tackles for loss so far, 10 quarterback hits. I mean, this guy is performing at a very, very high level. Who would not want to have Maxx Crosby on their team? So the pieces all fit right there. This is somebody that I think that the Chicago Bears could certainly use. Now, the first big tail of the tape after stats is, what is the cap hit right now for Maxx Crosby? And the answer to that is $30 million in cash, $25.38 million. Look, the cash portion is not even an issue. It's that cap hit that makes the biggest deal. So you have to get rid of $30.5 million worth of payroll in order to bring that on, or do you? Is there a path forward for the Chicago Bears in that regard? Well, let's take a step here. The cap space available to the Chicago Bears right now is $6.3 million, which means that we do not have a path forward on the surface for a Maxx Crosby type player. So then you have to consider, who do we have to move on in order to make that happen? Now, simple answer would be Nate Davis, but he's got so much dead money that it's going to be complicated and difficult to do. So there's a lot of dead cap money that we're sitting on right now. That's going to be prohibitive and prevent us from making any sort of moves. You really have to get down here to a cost-effective means, and in order to do that, you're looking at Andrew Billings with no cap space. You're looking at Daryl Taylor. We're looking at guys that we really kind of need, guys that we'd really like to hang on to. So let me just say that when I look at this, and by the way, there are potentially creative ways that you could do this. But the biggest offer I think that the Chicago Bears would have would be somebody like a Khalil Herbert, right? But Khalil Herbert's cap hit is barely $1 million, $1.087 million. Like, it is incredibly complicated for the Bears to be able to bring in somebody like Maxx Crosby. Now, one more piece to this equation: who do you bring in instead of Maxx Crosby if you want to shore up the defense? Well, let's take a look at the Chicago Bears stats. What do we need? What does it look like? All right, so the Chicago Bears currently rank number 5 overall in points per game, at number 7 in yards per game, number 5 in points per play, number 6 in opponent's yards. Guys, this team is excelling right now, okay? Rush yards per play, averaging 13th. Now, we'd like to see a little bit of improvement in that because we were the number 1 rushing defense last year, but stick with me on this. Rushing yards per game, ranking 18th, so we're not really stopping the run the way that we previously had, and we will have to address that, but that's not what Maxx Crosby does. Opponents' rushes per game, yards per game, still top 10, but here we are, pass play percentage. You can see the dramatic improvement. Now, opponents' pass play percentage, 58.52, which is good for top 20, but look, we were 27th overall total defense last season in pass. Right? Well, guess what? Nothing about this says anything different. Let's get into the difference maker here. The difference maker is that sack percentage, 8.74%. We now rank 6th. We are in the top 10 in sacks per game. So do we really need to take $30 million worth of payroll to do something about something? We're already ranked pretty highly, and we're just getting it together. By the way, we should at least recognize that all things being equal, the Chicago Bears are going to continue to improve, because because we have the horses in this race, if you will, between Montez Sweat, Darrell Taylor, Andrew Billings, Gervon Dexter, just having a fantastic season, and DeMarcus Walker, a revival of sorts. And listen, DeMarcus Walker probably never going to be that magical defensive end, but listen, when you watch what the Bears have been doing, which is pulling Andrew Billings, moving DeMarcus Walker to the inside, and letting Darrell Taylor run wild while DeMarcus Walker does what he does best, which is push up into that run game and stop the run and that's, by the way, new experiment here. This is not something that they've been doing consistently. You're just seeing more of it as the season goes on, and the defense looks better and better as the season goes on. So, we're looking at something that's happening real time and improving this team. And then finally, I want to address the biggest reason that Maxx Crosby probably has no chance of coming to Chicago. And my friends, it doesn't get any realer than this right here. Austin Booker, this is the guy that we think is going to be the new Maxx Crosby, if you will. Now, Austin Booker is a motor that never quits. He's learning the technique to be a star in this league. He's working his way into this lineup game by game. He's getting more playing time. Now, at this point, we've got 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss. Not a whole lot. There's not a whole lot to talk about when it comes to Austin Booker when you look at this across the board. However, here's the issue, right? The issue is this is not Maxx Crosby. This was not a guy who was made for the NFL out of the gate. He probably needed 1 more year of learning before we got to that point. Well, that year is happening real time right in front of our faces. We see the product on the field. We're seeing him constantly improve and getting better, and it's only a matter of time before Austin Booker takes over as our starting defensive end. There's no need for somebody like a Maxx Crosby because this guy right here represents our Maxx Crosby. Now, you may disagree with me, and that's okay. You're allowed to be wrong. But Austin Booker, probably that guy. There's no reason for Ryan Poles to tamper with this defense right now. There's no reason other than to add some depth to this roster for him to remake anything at this point. This is a payroll that we need to pay attention to at least through the end of this year. This is a team that's starting to coalesce and come together. Maxx Crosby would help the Bears. I'm not saying that he would not, but I am saying that if we decide that we're not going to do that, and there's no reason to break the farm and break the bank, whatever, to make something like that happen, it's going to be because of this guy. It's going to be because of Darrell Taylor. It's going to be because of Gervon Dexter. It's going to be because of DeMarcus Walker. It's going to be because of all of the guys on that line right now that are stepping up big time and making it happen and allowing Montez Sweat to be Montez Sweat. That's the kind of stuff that we're looking for. That's the kind of stuff that we're getting. And I think that it would be prohibitive if the Bears were to mess with what's finally starting to work. But let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Do you think that the Bears have a path in order to pick up Maxx Crosby? If you do, let me know what you think in the description down below or in the comments down below. Let me know what you think on how the Bears could get there. Who do they trade? Who do they move on? Where does the cap space come from in order to make something like this happen? There's a limited amount. They're going to have to make a lot of hard choices. We know Nate Davis, but, who's going to take him? This is very complicated and very difficult, but I welcome any comments down below.